If you're running a college athletic department, you're already involved in the names, image, and likenesses world. What you might be wondering about is what are the compliance requirements and what are the consequences of non-compliance? The reality is we don't exactly know what the consequences are. The best analogy for failing to comply with the valuation requirements of the NIL parameters set by the House deal, that it's like being a scuba diver with a ribeye attached around your waist bleeding as you walk into the shark cage. You don't know what the consequences are going to be, but you know the outcome's not going to be good. Frankly, because the NIL world is so new, we don't know what the consequences are for non-compliance exactly. We don't have enough instances of deals not being cleared by the NCAA and Deloitte to know exactly what it means if a university decides they're simply going to defy the rules. Historically, the NCAA has had wide latitude in assessing penalties to college and university programs that it deemed out of compliance, ranging from fines to being left out of playoffs, to losing scholarships, to having championships expunged, and in very rare cases, the death penalty in which a school is removed from the schedule for 1 or more years. Those cases seem to be a little extreme to predict that they will take place over misalignment of valuation on NIL deals, but precedent has been set that very extreme measures have been taken where compensation of players has been concerned in prior years. The House versus NCAA settlement requires that NIL deals must reflect fair market value. That is, that the fair market value of compensation is roughly equal to the value of the services that are being provided. Those services may be product endorsements, autographs, personal appearances, or social media lift. And there is some leeway in that the value of the deal and the value of the services provided do not have to be an exact match. Generally speaking, it is believed that as long as the two are within 20% of one another, then the deal will wind up being cleared and thus is allowed. The reason this regime exists is that in spite of the fact that the House versus NCAA settlement allows players now to be compensated for use of their name, image, and likeness, and thus are allowed to make money as college athletes, the settlement also allows for the NCAA's desire to uphold the ideal of the student athlete. That is, a student that is playing for the honor of the university in exchange for a scholarship and is not simply being paid to perform. It's a nuanced difference to be sure, but one that the NCAA deems important and has been upheld by the settlement. At this juncture, it's useful to understand how money flows from sponsors to the athletes. There are 5 primary sources of NIL dollars, and each carries a different compliance implication. First, let's say brands and businesses, local or national, want to use an athlete's identity for marketing purposes. This is the most straightforward category of NIL. A regional car dealership pays a starting quarterback to appear in commercials. A national apparel brand sponsors a women's soccer player's social media contract. Second, there are organizations known as collectives. Booster-funded entities organized specifically to generate NIL income for athletes at a particular school. Second are collectives. Booster-funded entities organized specifically to generate NIL income for athletes at a particular school. These collectives have become the dominant recruitment tool in college sports. Now, although these are structured as independent organizations from the university, they're almost always funded by people who are deeply invested in that school's athletic success, and in some cases, they even share employees. Third are the schools themselves. Although schools cannot pay athletes for performance, they can pay athletes for their marketing services. This is an entirely new model of operation for colleges and universities, and it changes the institutional exposure and financial profile considerably. Fourth are NIL agencies and representatives, entities that facilitate deals, negotiate on behalf of athletes, and take a percentage of NIL income. In effect, these agencies function the same way that agents do for professional athletes. They play a role in structuring deals, which can affect whether those deals can withstand scrutiny in terms of being cleared. Finally, digital platforms and marketplaces can match athletes with commercial opportunities. These have proliferated since 2021, and the College Sports Commission NIL Go portal alone has, as of this recording, processed over 26,000 deals, representing approximately $242 million. One of the surest ways that you can ensure that an NIL deal will be cleared by the NIL Go Clearinghouse is to have that NIL deal independently valued prior to its submission. Independent firms such as High Score Strategies will use similar methodologies and data sets to those used by Deloitte, which is running the clearinghouse, will use in their evaluations. For more information on how we approach NIL valuations and how we can minimize disruption to your athletic department, schedule a free consultation with us today.